Solar PVcast by Shift, a podcast exploring solar energy and the role it plays in improving our lives and our planet. Here's your host, Chris Palliser.
Hey, what's up? It is another episode of the Solar PVcast, and my name is Chris. It is powered by Shift. For all your solar and energy storage needs, make sure you visit shift.ca. Now, this is a real update episode because some news came out a couple weeks ago about the Canada Greener Homes program that the federal government in Canada has put out to help people make their home more energy efficient, and that includes, of course, solar installation and energy storage options. Now, a couple weeks ago, the update was that the program on the grant or the rebate side might be running out or is going to run out. So I thought, hey, I got to get my friend Daniel Giam from Gets Energy on to figure out what does this mean? What does this look like? Is it legit? Is it not legit? Just answer all the questions about this recent announcement regarding the Canada Greener Homes program. So Daniel Giam from Gets Energy, an energy advisor and owner, thank you very much for joining us once again on the podcast.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, great to be here again and happy to provide an update on the program.
Wonderful. Now, just for those tuning in, maybe they're like, oh yeah, I've heard about this program. Just briefly sum up what the program is, maybe why it was put in place and things like that.
For sure. So the Greener Homes program was originally put in place to help homeowners pay for energy improvement upgrades to their homes. It started, I guess, about 2 years ago now, and its intent was to run for 7 years and provide homeowners up to $5,000 in rebates to offset energy upgrades. Those energy upgrades could obviously be and include solar, but also included things like heat pumps, windows, insulation, and essentially anything that provides and is related to the energy efficiency of your home. More recently, they added the loan program to the same umbrella of the Greener Homes program, which also provides up to $40,000 in interest-free loans over 10 years to make those same energy improvements and upgrades to your home. Yeah,
and I mean it's obviously going well, and there's been a lot of uptake because the whole reason today is we're having this conversation is because there's been a recent update. If you want to talk about that,
for sure. And what I would say about this update is that the program itself has been a victim of its own success. So many people have been able to take advantage of and use this program to make energy efficiency improvements to their home. That essentially what has happened is the amount of funding is planned to run out. At least this is what they've told us by March 2024. So the funding that they're talking about running out is specifically on the grant side and specifically on the rebate side. So it does not affect any provincial rebate programs, and it does not affect the Canada Greener Homes loan program. So the loan program will still independently be available. It is only the $5,000 rebate that is going to be affected at this time.
Now that's the $5,000 rebate and the $600, which you also get so you can put towards your energy audit.
Exactly. Yeah, those two rebates are lumped into one. So unfortunately, those two rebates are going away.
What do we think? Great to hear the loans sticking around. What do you think? Is it actually going to end, or is it just going to morph? Like, in your opinion, I mean, a lot of people have talked about how 2025 is an election year, and if you're the current political party, are you going to cancel a program that so many people love? Like, wouldn't that hurt? I mean, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I think while we don't know anything for certain, we do know that everyone is gauging this program to be a success. In particular, on the government side and on the ministerial side of the Canadian government, the program's a success. I think what they likely are looking at is two different options. So option one, add more money to the program as it stands, and continue on the program as it has run. Option two is looking at some of the specific retrofits that people are making, and modifying the program so that there's different streams of funding for different retrofits. So, for example, there would be a different stream of rebates for solar as there would be for heat pumps. Whereas right now, what we have is kind of a one pathway to these different rebates. And what I think that they're looking at is several pathways that vary and streamline the process based on what retrofits the homeowners are actually trying to install and accomplish.
Right, because right now, whether it's a heat pump, new insulation, new windows, or solar, it's all that $5,000 rebate. So you're saying essentially break that down a little bit.
Yeah, so break it down, but also I think the process that they've set in place for some of the different rebates that are available and the different upgrades. Sometimes a one size fits all approach doesn't work that well or doesn't streamline the process. So, for example, what I think that they're looking at, and granted, they haven't come out and released anything specific at this stage yet. They just made the announcement a couple weeks ago, and as far as we know, within the next few weeks, they're going to make some announcements on the Greener Homes webpage that specifically communicates the status of the program and what will be upcoming. So that should come out in the next few weeks on their website. However, I do know that they are looking to streamline access to the different energy upgrades rather than having just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. Now, somebody's listening right now and they've been on the fence about going solar specifically, is what this podcast is about, but just doing energy upgrades in general. What do they need to do to get in it? Is it too late to apply, or can you still apply? What does that look like?
For sure. Right now, open for business is the mantra from all sides. So at this time, they're expecting to end applications at the end of March.
Okay, so that's just applications.
Yes, exactly. So what that means is that as long as you have an application started, you have an AP number, and you've begun the process before that end date where they close the application window, you will still be able to move through the rebate program without any disruption or any issues. You'll still be able to, for example, if you started the process today or closer to the end of the year, you will still certainly be able to get in and make any of the energy efficiency upgrades that you're looking to use and looking to take advantage of the Greener Homes program. It's really just after the window has closed and they've closed the window for applications, then at that point you won't be able to create a new application and get in the program at that time. So I think the most important thing is, if you're on the fence, it's probably a good time to at least make your decision whether you want to move forward with your energy efficiency upgrades or hold off until who it's really hard to tell what will happen for sure in the future. But we know that what we do know is that these rebates are available right now. And if you want to make use of them, they are still available to you.
Right. It's kind of like I'm picturing, kids waiting in line at a fair, and things are closing at 5:00, but they're going to cut the line off a little earlier to let those other people ride it out, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to get on the ride, now's the time to get in the line and get on the ride.
Get your AP number, like you said. Exactly. What's the time? I mean, we've talked about this in the past, the timeline on the Greener Homes program. What are we at right now in terms of, from beginning, making the initial call, potentially to Gets Energy, to get your energy audit, to getting that grant money, and what's the timeline at these days?
For sure. I mean, timelines, I would say that the primary times that you're going to be waiting at this time are primarily on if you're going to use the loan program, it's waiting to be approved for the loan. So there's a period of time that it takes to for the loan team to review the loan applications. That one is a little bit variable. And then the other time limit is just organizing contractors and things like that, and making sure that your install is going on without a hitch. If everything goes smoothly and everything is kind of one day after another, and there's no holdups through the process, then I would say that typically we're looking at 6 to 8 weeks to fully complete the process.
It's important to make a note for you listening, you watching, that as much as the energy advisor has a role to play to get those documents, and I know you guys have a program that gets energy to assist with that, it's also very important that the client submits the documents to you in a timely manner as well. Because I've chatted with a few people, and well, why didn't this happen? It's like, oh, I forgot to send in this form.
Yeah,
and things like that.
Definitely, and I think the biggest part of it is open and clear communication between all parties through the process. What we never want to see is for people to be hung up at a certain stage of the process and not understand what exactly the hang up is. So there's definitely a process that we've got in place to ensure that everyone is getting everything submitted as quickly as possible.
Communication, isn't that what we're all trying to be better at?
Yeah, it's life mantra for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We touched on it a little bit, but I was just thinking, like, in some other countries, they offer a tax incentive or a tax credit. Do you see this program morphing into something like that, rather than just cutting people checks?
I see. We do know that there is the tax program that was previously only available commercially, and everything that I've heard is that it's going to be extended also to individual homeowners as well, and so not just available to corporations, and available to just the general public as well. What that does mean is that you'll still have to pay for everything up front. However, you'll certainly be able to use it as a tax write-off in the upcoming year. So it's kind of a deferred rebate essentially on your income tax.
Right. Is that the 30% federal they released last year, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so as far as I know, that was only originally available to corporations.
Mm-hmm.
However, we do understand that it's being extended to individual people as well.
Oh, interesting. And is that something that's happening now? Because we haven't heard that one yet. I'm just curious if that's something that you've heard is coming up.
Yeah, I've heard that it's coming up. I believe at this time that it's not currently in place. However, is coming down the pipeline. I don't have an exact date, unfortunately.
For sure. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about helping people transition to a more renewable way of life, or a more energy efficient way of life, which is what it's all about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, exciting times. I mean, what do you think that's going to do to the pipeline now that we've got this kind of March 2024? It's ending. Gets energy. Have you guys seen a lot of people uptake? What do you think on that?
Yeah, I think it's. I used this analogy before, but it definitely feels a little bit like toilet paper at the beginning of COVID. It feels like a little bit of a rush and panic buy situation, where if people were on the fence and kind of 50-50 whether they were just going to wait it out until, say, next summer or something like that, people are kind of rushing in to get these upgrades in that they wanted to take care of before that March deadline. So it's really not a there's no downside right now to starting the application and starting the process. As long as you've started the process, there's no specific requirement to, for example, finish the installation by March. It's just that you have to start the process by March. The final window for post assessments, so So essentially finalizing your application. There's no end date for finalizing your application. So as long as you've got the process started, you can still, for example, get your system installed in the summer like you originally planned, or next fall when you originally planned. You just have to get the process started, and like you were saying, just get in line for the Ferris wheel.
Yeah. That's got me thinking too, because I've heard that some people have signed up, say, February of this year. They kind of get kicked out. Is there a time limit? Like, do you lose that AP number ever if you sign up and you do it, but then you don't get your energy audit?
Yes, and the thing that I know I'm an energy advisor, but I'm just kind of don't kill the messenger here. But basically, what they've said is they're people that have created AP numbers. They essentially look at whether they've completed the pre-retrofit assessment, as whether they're serious about completing some of these retrofits. So, for example, if you've completed the pre-retrofit assessment, they're not going to remove your AP number or kick you out of the program. However, if you're sitting there and you have an AP number, but you have not completed an assessment, that is the point that after a certain amount of time that you're at risk. But with that said, before they remove your AP number, they certainly send out correspondence to that applicant's email to make sure that basically just to make sure that they don't have something on the go already.
Right. Heads up, we're going to remove you. If you haven't done anything, please let us know.
Exactly.
But so if you sign up, you get your EP number and you get an energy advisor in, they do the pre-energy audit, then you're kind of safe for the next year.
Yeah, and what they have said is that it's not just the next year. Like the program is still on its original timeline. They're not going to, for example, they set aside the funds once you have your AP number, and they set aside the funds for you for the, theoretically, at least what they've told us is that they'll hold them for the original timeline of the program, which is up until 2027. So you still have lots of time to actually make your retrofits. It's just a matter of ensuring that you are in the program and have your pre-retrofit done, so that they don't remove your AP number.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an important step to know then as well. Not only just sign up, but like you said, I know you're an energy advisor, but just in general, it helps to whoever you go with in your community to get that done, so you can at least really then lock in your spot before that program runs out in March.
For sure. Yeah.
Great. Anything else you've encountered that you feel would be important to get out now that we have a bit of a deadline looming for the Greener Homes program?
Yeah, not really. I think it's important to note that I know I've said this earlier, but there's no changes at all to the loan program. They're still going to be using the loan program, and that's still going to be available after that March date. And especially for PV systems and solar systems, it makes so much sense. And then in addition, all of the provincial and municipal programs are still available, and no changes that we know at this time to those programs. So there's still lots of opportunity out there, even once that March 2024 date has passed. And yeah, otherwise, no additional updates at this time.
Great. Well, Daniel, thanks for always checking in with us. You've been on a few times, and if it's okay with you, we'll get you back on maybe closer to March, or maybe even when some more announcements come out, because we appreciate the insight from somebody who's in the know on all this, and this is their livelihood.
For sure, Chris. Yeah, happy to help at any time.
Great. Daniel Giam from Gets Energy, owner and energy advisor at Gets Energy, on the Solar PVcast today. Daniel, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
The Solar PVcast by Shift with Chris Palliser. To begin your solar journey, visit shift.ca.